Oh, good evening. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV. And as you can see, it's me, myself, and I. I think Wynn's packing his bags, ready for his jollies, and Chris, unfortunately, has camera issues, and he's working in the background, just sorting. And there's going to be one or two lads jumping on as we go through. But obviously, before we crack on with that, it's let's just do some housework, and then we'll talk about the topic that is obviously everybody's mind. Now, obviously, until these guys jump on board, I'm going to be relying on you guys in the chat to obviously keep me company. The topic's obviously going to be based on the news that's obviously come out. Still, the issues going on behind the scenes regarding Paul Mitchell, Dan Ashworth, and the crew. And like I say, it's something that's starting to build now, I suppose. And as a fan, yeah, I can actually say that I'm actually worried now about what's going on. And is there going to be some movement? Let's wait and see. Well, anyway, let's crack on with the housework, and then we'll get on with the subject. So, welcome to everybody that's watching across all of the channels. Thanks to everybody working in the background, always doing the great job. And don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoy the show, and even in the dislike button if you don't. It just helps us get further as a channel to other supporters. Subscribe, it's totally free. Hit that bell for any future content. And like I say, don't forget, we do 7 days a week content. It is called The Geordie Show tonight. But like I say, because of the news that's out there, we're literally opening the platform for the panel, if you like, to get involved. If anybody's out there wanting to get involved, like I say, there's lots of things that are happening this weekend. And obviously, things are being planned for holidays and things like that. So, like I say, it's going to be like probably a bit part performance from myself, but I plan just to go through some news. Like I say, don't forget to if you want to support the channel, don't forget to become a member if you want to and support us along the way. That'll get you some behind the scenes members, like content, and obviously if you get a chance of winning prizes, don't forget to check the webpage nufctalk.tv for news and content. We try and keep that as updated as we possibly can with the little time that we have. So, like I say, it depends on the news and the source, and if it's something that's worth a read. It's totally ad free, and you can read it at your leisure. If you've got a question, then obviously try and put a Q in front of that question. But I will highlight anything that looks relevant to the subject. Apologies if I don't mention everything, because like I say, you guys do like to chat amongst yourselves. But if you want to guarantee it, then use the dollar sign and give us a super chat. And from that, you can use the instructions, and we will guarantee that message to be read out. And all new members and anybody that wants to gift a membership will be highlighted and thanked along the way. So again, you're all very, very welcome. As normal, it looks like we've got issues behind the scenes now, and obviously there's you've got the Sun, you've got the Mirror, all reporting of the unrest that's happened just before the weekend, before the internationals, and it seems to be rumbling on to the point now where obviously you've had Dan Ashworth stick his nose in and say that he's unhappy about obviously some of the wording or content that Mitchell had put out, and even Amanda Staveley apparently has made comments on social media about not being happy with what's being said. So I thought tonight what we can do is just have a look at some of these reports of what's going on. And for me, it literally is about, like I say, I feel a little bit uneasy now. I did say we'd come to um, a little bit of a crossroads because of what people had been saying and everything else. But obviously now this has gone on and raised to another level. The Sun are now saying that, and the headline is Mitchy Feet, as in itchy feet. Newcastle transfer guru Mitchell unhappy and could walk away just 2 months after joining the club as Howe's rift deepens. And they go on to obviously go into further detail on what Mitchell has said. and whether it could be worded differently. Now, I know the Sun have their own way of making people click on subjects, but then you start looking into it, and then you go into again what the Mirror have put down, and it's like former Newcastle sporting director Dan Ashworth, and in brackets, hurt by replacement Paul Mitchell's claims that transfer structure was not fit for purpose. The Newcastle director has been given his analysis on the club's past recruitment. Paul Mitchell admitted he played a supporting role on the transfers this summer. And like I said, a lot of this, what has been written, is all based on what we as supporters wanted some clarity on what was going on. I mean, obviously, then people start questioning Darren Eales within this structure, because obviously we all saw the social media shots of Darren Eales on the stage, and he's void up the guys in the audience and everything else. Um, but you have to ask yourself, is what is his role since it's all happened? Um, I mean, Ashworth, who formerly left the Magpies in July to join Manchester United, he's been indirectly blamed for the club's poor performances in the recent concluded summer transfer window. Mitchell claimed that the Newcastle old transfer structure was not fit for purpose after being drafted in to replace Ashworth. The criticism, however, has not gone down well with the new United sporting director, according to the Telegraph, that is. And then he goes on to report that adds that Mitchell accused Ashworth regime of overpaying for certain players. Now, I couldn't get my head round what he meant by that. So obviously you have to go and do a little bit of digging. And when you look at it all, you've got to say to yourself, is there anybody out there that we paid over the odds for? Um, and I found it very, very difficult to find the answers to that. In fact, I found it impossible to say. I mean, Botman, 35 million. I suppose if you were to really throw the net far afield, I suppose you could say Isaac at 60 million was a little bit of a gamble. Obviously, there was a lot of teams out there that were looking at this lad, but nobody was willing to give him the price that he was asking for, and we did. We went out there, but obviously, if what Mitchell said about not having the intelligence, and obviously by him saying that, he didn't mean that obviously he was blaming anybody for not being intelligent. It was just obviously the way he stated, at the time, Newcastle was sourcing these players with Amanda Staveley and Gerda Murdrad being part of that system. So for me, is there a gamble? So yeah, I suppose there was for Isaac. We all knew what Gordon could do, but obviously Gordon come in originally, according to if you like the rumours out there, and if you were to take whatever Prime was doing at the time when they were doing that televised documentary, Gordon was brought in as a right winger. Harvey Barnes, then obviously 38 million was brought in for the left wing. But with Harvey Barnes' issues, then obviously with his injuries, it seemed to be a bit of a tug of war, and it's never really removed from that. So I suppose you could say that. Now, Tonali at 60 million, was that in itself a gamble? Well, again, any 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 player coming to any project is going to be a gamble if you haven't done the correct intelligence. But is it been more luck than judgment with us? Because none of the players that I've just mentioned, even Tino at 31 million, have been a non-performer. They've all performed to the highest degree, if you ask me. So what I was looking for there, Chris, was the fact that if you break this down, and what Dan Ashworth is now saying, that he's not happy with some of the Mitchell dialogue. Um, have we gambled on any of the signings that we've done well, in the past couple of windows?
Have we gambled? And explain that a little bit. I mean, how
Well,
we
if you look, right, we've none of these guys have been vetted fully like I said, we all said a lot of them had come in through the back door. Nobody had heard of them.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. So obviously you have to clap your hands at at Nixon and Andy Howe, because obviously these guys had been doing some work behind the scenes. Now, is it a gamble to go out there and throw this type of money? The likes of Isaac, who obviously hadn't really set the world alight at that time. He was, I'm not saying he was underperforming, but he certainly didn't look to me as a 60 million or a 60 plus million pound signing. And nobody else in Europe even gambled on him. I mean, now they're looking at him because obviously he's hitting the high notes. So where do you find? Because at the minute I'm uncomfortable because I have a feeling that there's some unrest now with what's going on, and I can see somebody moving. Um, or is it just paper talk? Is this just paper talk now that they're looking at getting clicks on the paper to try and obviously hit the headlines?
Well, it's kind of weird, all of this coming out. There's reports by Luke Edwards. Well, it's the one I think we're referring to, the same one. Um, it's kind of weird that we're actually talking about Ashworth, and not us. I'm talking about, we got to talk about what's happening. But I mean, that this is coming out. Ashworth has nothing to do with Newcastle anymore. If he's unhappy or happy, has nothing to do. Really, shouldn't be relevant, right? So there's got to
Hmm.
be some type of reason of why people are coming out with this. Luke Edwards leading that, you know, that group of people talking about this. Whatever Ashworth thinks shouldn't be relevant at this point to Newcastle. However, it's just one more um, piece to this puzzle that basically means something is going on in the background, in the back room of Newcastle. It's not like the mighty wind says that everything is
Yeah,
perfect and
Rosie.
everybody's happy. It's not. You could look. Football has been invented for hundreds of years, at least 100 years. I don't know. Football was invented probably in the 1880s, so it's not more than 100. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Regardless, many years, and we already know this. When these types of talks happen, something is going on. And a lot of people said, I could be included in the talks, that Paul Mitchell came out and tried to defend himself after all the talks, including Eddie Howe, who
Mm.
said that he wasn't involved in anything. Well, Paul Mitchell came in and kind of contradicted everything Eddie Howe was saying. So at this point, you see a lot of people trying to, you know, clean themselves, wash their hands, if you will,
Yeah,
about
yeah.
what's happening. Paul Mitchell saying, "I just got here. I can't just disrupt what's happening." But you also talking about Dan Ashworth can't deny that, bad or good or whatever, or good person, bad person, I don't know. Certainly didn't like the way he's left, and but we got him from Brighton the same way. And so, should we complain? Because we did it to Brighton, and now all of a sudden, when it's about us, we get mad, and because he wants to go to Man U. So, we call him Bellin, we call him all kinds of names, but he's done the same thing to Brighton to come to us, and no Newcastle fan said, "I don't think this is the right way for him to leave Brighton. He needs to wait until his contract is up." It's just the nature of the beast, the dog eat
Mm.
dog world, right?
Yeah, yeah. But we
Although
didn't
I
pay
did,
the compensation for it, didn't we? And
right,
we certainly didn't hear through the grapevine like we heard
and well,
that he
and
was doing.
Man U did pay, so that's
Yeah, 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 yeah. But there was no. What I'm saying is there was no um, tapping behind the scenes. You
right.
know,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
all
that's
know
true.
about the emails and stuff like that. I think
Yeah,
we did it correctly, even though, like
yeah,
you're absolutely right. And that is the dog eat dog nature of football, isn't it? You know,
yeah, it is.
everybody's going. You know, everybody's got a price.
And so, with that being said, I think Ashworth did a good job. You we can't say that he didn't do a good job, because his job is to sign players, and he signed just about a good portion of the players that we really like. Harvey Barnes is one of them, and I'm just going from the bottom up, because you can say Tonali is a crucial signing. We were excited to see him. Bruno was here already, I believe. So was it Isaac? No, was is it
Yeah, I
Isaac?
think it was, wasn't it?
Isaac could have been, yeah. Isaac could have been in that mix. So I think he. I think he did his job. Again, we didn't like the way he left. So he's talking about we're hearing that Ashworth is not happy with people saying that the recruitment part wasn't good or whatever. What Paul Mitchell saying is not accurate. Well, it might have not been accurate until he left, and there's a reason why he left. Is the sole reason he just wanted money and he wanted the Manu project? That could be, but also could be that the rumors that he didn't get along with Eddie and his nephew in the scouting as the head of the scouting team could be true as well. So, um, again, we get to the same question all the time though. Can Eddie work with a DOF? So far, hasn't hasn't been seeming that way. It doesn't seem that way that he likes to work with a DO, somebody that's above him. Um, and, listen, it's just sometimes the way it is, but we gotta call it for what it is. If he
Yeah.
doesn't, but whether Ashworth, there's got to be a reason as to why journalists are bringing out Ashworth. I mean, why is that so relevant at this point?
Well, it's
Uh,
because obviously some of the criticism from Mitchell has pointed to previous windows. Um, that obviously we were a little bit gung ho, if you like, in the way we dealt and potentially gambled on a few players. Now, obviously, we gambled on Chris Wood and it failed, and we actually took a loss on the Chris Wood saga. Only like a minor loss, but it was still a negative. And I think that's what he was more alluding to is the fact that we can't do business this way. If we buy players, then we must try and make a profit from them. Now, I'm not saying that that's the person that he's alluding to. I'm not because I have no idea what he's saying. Um, but then you've got to ask yourself: have fans? Do fans have a portion of blame towards what's going on now? And the reasons why I say that is obviously during the Amanda and Mairdred stay, they obviously were the forefront of they were the voices of the staff, weren't they? They were out in force. They were always giving us information. It was there for everybody to see. They were meeting and greeting fans, and it seemed to be as if that was the common ground now. And then obviously you had Shearer come out and also stated that we could do with the DOFs now to start coming out and giving us some information, be a bit more
right.
clear and concise about what's going on behind the scenes. Because as fans, we don't hear anything. We've just come to an end of a window and nothing's happened. So has there been a lot of pressure from the fans to have this Mitchell um, discussion with the journalists
Well,
for it to be pushed in the open for
I,
us to hear what's going on?
I'll be fair. I mean, I did want answers because something I believe something warranted somebody to come out and explain what happened in the window. Now,
Yeah,
look, these people come out and say what they want. I didn't, in particular, me in particular, I didn't ask for anybody to blame anybody. I just asked what happened because that's just the way it is. We know what happened in this horrible window. Nobody in their sane mind can think that we had a good window and we don't need answers. Well, we did a video and that did well on the channel and says we need answers. And a few said that we don't need answers. People know what they're doing in there, and we don't need to know everything, which I don't agree with. I think we need transparency. We had a lot of not talking during the Ashley era, so we can't have it both ways. If we complain about Ashley doing what he wants and not talking to the fans, and listen, not necessarily they are in charge for a reason. So I'm not
mm,
asking them to ask me or any fan who do we need to sign, guys? No, just explain what happened because we clearly know it wasn't a good window. So
yeah,
that's
absolutely. We certainly don't
that's
want to go back to the dark days, do we? With the
exactly.
Ashley era, where you knew nothing. It was all done behind closed doors, and as fans, we were all upset
And
with the business that lad did because he always tried to even the books out. If he bought one or two players in, you always knew that there was two or three players being sold on,
and the
and
thing
that was Ashley.
and the thing about that is, again, I l- I wanted to see what was happening in this window, particularly me in particular, but I didn't ask Paul Mitchell to come out and basically contradict Eddie Howe's statements.
Yeah,
That's their prerogative. Not we don't tell them what to say. And
yeah,
so and it all starts shady anyway. To the defense of not anybody in particular, but if you want to put it into Paul Mitchell versus Eddie, it would be in Eddie's defense that this interview was a recorded interview with audio recorded, and there were, from what I hear, they were told cut this out, put this, etc. I think it was 30 minutes or so, and it's typed, and to me leaves the room for speculation and people to say, well, did he really say that? Where's the context? As if and it might have been a deliberate thing that he didn't go on simple video on YouTube, because you cannot edit that. It is what it is. You see what you
Yes.
see, and so it's. I think this thing is gonna get bigger than we think. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
this is going to explode at one point, at some point in time. I'm telling you, man. Listen, we a lot of the chat. We got to be honest to yourself. We've been watching football for a long time, and when things like this start happening, you know, at it wouldn't be the first time that we see a DOF last less than a year or a year.
yeah, yeah.
It wouldn't be
Exactly.
the first time that we see a manager get sacked out of the blue. It wouldn't be the first time seeing directors say, our manager has our support, and the next week he gets sacked. It won't be the first time.
No,
So don't be surprised, man. This is the bloody football game, man.
I mean there was a really good thing on social media about what Mitchell could have said. Exactly the same words, but said it differently. Where it didn't, it certainly wasn't condescending towards Eddie Howe or Amanda Staveley in the way they did business, but it come across totally different. Now it makes me think that, like, obviously the way Mitchell's worked from grassroots, obviously all the way through his career to a higher field, and now obviously director of football. And again, I've followed this lad's career to a degree from his playing days. Like I say, I've watched him play, especially against virtually the club that I worked for back then. And it's really weird, you start to see. Is it the fact that this lad's got no filter?
Mhm.
And he just speaks, as we all do in the street with very little filter, and it comes out that way, even though there may not be any malice behind it. Is it just the fact that the filter's just not switched on for media? And like you said, yes, to a degree, I believe it was scripted because obviously they were told when to turn off their devices when they were just chatting amongst themselves. So there was a lot of, I would say, tongue-in-cheek discussion
Yeah.
behind the scenes that actually hasn't come to the forefront. And you're right again. It was also told that there was going to be no videos involved. It literally was an hour and a half, 90 minutes of um, chat about what's gone on in the last the last window mainly, but obviously in the last two windows. And that's what gets me. It's the fact that you know what was it? The fact that we went too big too soon with some of the players, um, when Amanda and Mirdad were involved, and that's obviously then you've got Darren Eales who's obviously getting the blame now for pushing them out a little bit sooner than needed to, or is it something else? We also say now that Steve Nixon's not happy. Steve
It-
Nixon's not happy with the way he's been obviously discussed about his role, how his role has changed now. And don't forget, when Amanda was involved, Steve Nixon was touted for the job of DOF. So he's actually took not just a sideward step, he's took a bit of a backward
Exactly.
step as well.
Yeah,
You know
which
what I mean?
I'm sure he's not liking, and yeah, his roles have been reduced. But look, you can't have too many Chiefs, man, and no Indians. Who's going to be the boss? Listen, technically, Paul Mitchell should be the boss of
Absolutely.
everybody.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, I mean, obviously under Eels, right? Or under him would be Eddie, etc. Now you can say he needs to negotiate with Eddie 100%. So, but still hold a title over him. But they do need to negotiate on players. Perfect. Everybody else responds to Mitchell almost directly, like So in Hickson, right? Um,
Nixon.
Nixon is one of those. So if he wants to have a bigger title, man. That's what Mitchell came to do. You because if not, it's like one of the things I hate about football tactics is the zone defense. You
Yeah,
can't blame anybody for a mistake. because everybody's like, "Well, I was here. No, I was there." No, man to man, and we know who the culprit is. And that's the same thing. If the next transfer
Absolutely.
window is horrible like this one, which granted, winter, obviously, not much goes on. I don't expect many signings, maybe one, maybe trying to go for the Mark Gee, which has been reported. Actually, today I saw that Newcastle are lining up for another Gee.
Another one.
The
Yeah.
saga number two to start. Maybe that one, but don't see very many signings. So I think by next summer we should have only one person to blame or to praise, and that should be Paul Mitchell.
Yeah.
Um, you
I
know,
mean, like I said, there has got to be a portion of blame got to go towards Eels, because
well,
like
yeah, he's
he
above
was the
everybody.
one who was coming out with the big statements, wasn't he?
Oh
Now
yeah,
he must have been in the know at the point that there was obviously only one target to go for, but he was saying, what was it, some type of revolutionary,
yeah,
some
revolutionary window.
yeah,
What kind of a revolutionary?
window, and and it turned out to be completely the opposite. And the disappointing point to all this talk is the fact that he's gone really quiet now. When all the
Exactly.
crap has hit the fan, the one person who obviously touted the business, if you like, has now gone into the back seat. And your phrase is obviously throw the rock and hide your hand.
Yep.
Um, and it does seem to all have instigated from, are we as fans getting G'd up too much by what's being said? And we've all said about um, the change in the stadium as well. They said it's going to be a once in a lifetime change. Now, all these statements get us as fans off our seats, don't they? Because we're expecting the club to be, a really big elite club in a few years' time. Now, I'm obviously one of those fans that obviously also errs with a little bit of caution to that. And that's why I said the other night about us coming to a crossroads. And it doesn't mean that we're not going to go forward. It just means that we may need to take a different direction before we can go forwards. And that's what I said. For me, it's a case of why make these statements if there is no truth behind them?
Well, he must have known, must have been told something, and obviously he needs to have a responsibility, even if he was lied to by Mitchell or by Eddie or maybe he counted that Amanda was going to be there, and we'll get some signings. Don't worry.
Mm.
Whatever it is, he's still the CEO, man, and
Absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
job comes with a responsibility, and you got to take the blame and the hit. And maybe he got carried away, and now he knows I need to be quiet next time and not go to the stack and jump up and down. So I keep telling you, man, you're doing all of this when there is a transfer window open and you got business to conduct. So at some point in time, I mean, leave that for fans, man. Leave that for fans.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so he didn't do that, and he's got to pay. And there's a lot going on, man. That we talked about before. The Amanda Gudusi being pushed out by Eels, and there's a lot of stuff going on. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
If
it's not football anymore, is it?
no, it's
We
not.
we talk more about this recently because obviously it's yeah, because of the international break, it's the only news that's out there. Apart from obviously the lads that are playing for us, in actual fact, are having really good performances while on international duty. Um, and I suppose as we've spoke for half an hour now, maybe we move away from the business, but we can have a look at the chat to see
Yeah,
what people are saying about this, as we've highlighted a few. Bilbo, evening, Gary. I thought that we had gone up past that era with the club being in the media for all the wrong reasons. It seems to be coming back again. And, mate, that's exactly what I said. To me, we've not, when I said we've come to these crossroads, I'm being haunted by the past with the dark days. And like I said, we're in the papers for all of the wrong reasons at the minute. And yes, journalists are going to get on board with this because the titles get clicks and get followers, and that's what these guys want. But
and
yeah, I
even
totally
though
agree with you.
to their point, I mean, the press is to do that, to expose the truth or what they call the truth based on their sources. So if
Yeah,
they
but is
see
it
that there's
expanded?
rambling, if they see that it is ramblings and people not happy in there, well, their job is to report it, and because
Yeah, absolutely.
we would like to know the truth. Now, whether that is exactly 100% the truth, it's another story.
Yeah, yeah. It's International Week, says Geordie Two for Life. So it's slow, so they write things for clicks, no tells. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I think there's elements of that as well. Um, James Cuff, actually, no. Ashworth started February 22. Isaac joined August 22. So I have to give him some credit to Ashworth, to be fair. I mean, like, yeah, like I said, I know we have to give a lot of credit to Ashworth and Amanda and Mairdred, but the problem is now is the fact that we've got to that PSR ceiling and we can't do anything else for like the last two windows. Have we gone like? Hence, my question to you guys before was: have we gone too big too soon with all these players coming in and not the right assets to sell? And that's where I am at the moment with where the club is. Um, Oh, that's James. I've just put that one on. Niall, he praised Eddie as well, and Eddie has downplayed his involvement with targets and trying to deflect his stubbornness on players. Um, like I said, I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks, like I say, that Mitchell's got a filter problem, and he literally says it as he sees it. And that's how that's how I've been a lot of the time. And don't get me wrong, I've had myself in trouble no end of times in the past because I speak what I think. Sometimes I don't think about it too much before I say it, and that can get me into trouble. And like I said, sometimes people don't like the word change. There's lots of times where I've had to make adaptations in my life, in my career, to support other people in their careers. And sometimes, yes, it hampers what I want to do. But this is what these guys are employed to do, And like I say, there's certain individuals, as Chris said, that have to make these decisions. That's what they get paid for. Some people take it on the chin and run with it. Other people, unfortunately, like we've seen, there's a couple of people now that are questioning where they're going now. And like I say, it wouldn't surprise me whether you do see some changes because, like I say, there's no smoke without fire.
Exactly.
Bilbo says, I think what Mitchell was trying to get across was that the majority of players we bought in aren't sellable assets that will help us in the future sales when bringing in better players. Well, obviously, the lads that we bought in, we've all been saying, maybe the Bruno sale in June was the one that people were trying to hit at. And again, that's just speculation. We have no truth behind that. It was just strange the way Bruno's contract finished on the 24th when we knew that the 20th or the 30th that we were scrambling in the 11th hour to get rid of two young players that were stationed in Nottingham hotels to see which direction they were going in. So, like I said, there was a lot going on behind the scenes during those times that made it feel really uncomfortable for me. Um, Adnan Ali, Piff will sort this out. Well, like I say, I hope I hope they've already got a plan
I hope
to
so
kick these buggers up the arse
because
because this could affect the way the lads play on the weekend, as daft it looks, because it's going to rumble and rumble on, and the lads
exactly.
read papers. Kenny W. Palace Saga played out in public. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's the another thing. Everything was done wrong. I mean, everything, man.
Mm.
When have you ever said? Now, listen, that was on their side, but we got welcome Mason.
Hey,
Um,
buddy.
but the thing is
No.
that could we have said, or whoever Mitchell, I'm assuming, could we have said, listen, Parrish, can we not play this out in the public? I mean, I feel like we're trying to do business here. You wouldn't like it if we did that. Can we, not play it out in the public? Because he kept talking and talking and talking and talking. It's not like he did it one time and it stopped. So everything was done wrong from the get go, man.
Mm.
And so that's where we're at,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
like I say, I agree. Uh, wholeheartedly, mate, with what you've said, and I think that's the trouble. I think we've got to a point now where anything that's been said across the boards in social media by anybody, the papers are just literally running with any headlines they can, um, and we've become a little bit of the laughing stock. It looks like to me as if the mighty have fallen is one of the comments that I read today. And I don't think we've ever been mighty at this present moment in time. But obviously, they're talking about the owners and everything else. Noel Pell says, "Do you see any of the top clubs coming out and speaking about decision making?" Well, no, you don't, and that's what I said. And again, as fans, that's why I asked the question. Is it the fans' fault to a degree? Because we're asking these guys to come out, and Amanda obviously started that. And everybody got involved with that and loved that as part of the fan base and the way the club continue to have a partnership. And that, for me, it spoke volumes of us being an individual entity to any other team in the Premier League. And I think fans got involved with that and wanted that to run on. And, we all said, it'd be lovely to have one of these guys to come forward, and it could have been any of them, to talk about what's happened in the transfer window. And obviously, like I say, Mitchell has, and nobody else has liked what he's been saying.
Right. Mason, what do you think, bro? What's going on, man? Ashworth is apparently not happy. I mean, I could care less about Ashworth not being happy, but
No, me.
kind of contradicting, but forget what they're reporting on Ashworth, who is really irrelevant at this point. But the thing is that right now there's too much noise in the back rooms, man. Too much noise. And if there's no smoke without fire, they say in Spanish, we say, if the river makes a sound, it's because it's bringing water. Which is so crazy to say. But what do you think, bro?
To be honest, I'm getting sick of it.
Yeah.
It's just 1 minute something is happening, the next it's not. And I've said me say on a few channels about Dan Niels. I think he's a con man. I don't like him. At first I thought he was a decent enough bloke, but now, as I've come to terms with him, I think he's another Ashley. I think
people are starting to say he's a snake, which is a shame, really, because the last thing you want is for any of the big boys in the background to be involved in anything untoward. Just carrying on from what's been written down. Earls is Mitchell's boss. He might have ordered it or suggested it. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I didn't think of that one, but you're absolutely right. David T has put down, the world we live in is now dominated with technology. Just look around. Mobiles are attached to people. We crave news. NUFC fans are like bees to honey to the ITKs. Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is, though, if there was nothing going on, we wouldn't be in all the papers or anything else,
Oh yeah.
apart from obviously the internationals. And that's what drives me insane. Like I said, I feel as though I've gone back 10 years rather than forward. Ashworth was poor. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mark. Ashworth was poor.
Well, I mean, about doing this job, I mean, think
Yeah,
about
but
it.
if you, like I said, if you look, if what Mitchell has stated that it's not fit for purpose, that should have been instructed by Ashworth when he was here, and he should have been getting his head round
You
what
should
was
have done something.
unfit for purpose. You got me? So,
Right.
and that's what I said. We don't know what he means by that. Is it the whole of the scouting system that's not fit for purpose? Is it literally just the fact that he's got one or two areas of concern within there? We don't know the facts, and that's what I said. That's why I said he could have said or worded it a bit better than it's come out in the papers, because I think that's where the fans, as fans, we've all made we've all had, oh dear, what's going on. It's a bit of a shock to the system,
Mm-hmm.
where we've been really enjoying not playing well, but having 7 points in the table. We would have failed PSR if Ashworth didn't find Minty.
Oh, we got he signed Mente?
Yeah.
Damn. See, I thought we had Mente for a while. That means that
No.
if Ashworth would have stayed, we probably would have used him maybe. Well, I mean, he has no say in the team, I guess, but
No, exactly. And like I say, at the end of the day, I'm starting to have, we had this question the other day, and I said, like, that for me, if Tonali doesn't start on Sunday for Wolves, there has to be a question mark on what the hell Eddie's looking at and what Eddie's tactics are.
Hey,
Because to me, when you put Longstaff and Tonali together, Tonali isn't, he's different league. It's a total different league as a player.
yeah,
And that's why I questioned it the other day, and everybody said, well, maybe something happened at Nottingham Forest. Well, what could have happened at Nottingham Forest? Because if he'd had a knock, he wouldn't even be on the bench. And that's why I said I'm still questioning Eddie's loyalty tax, and that's what I keep saying to you. At this present moment in time, as much as he's done a great job, there could be a little bit of loyalty towards certain individuals. So let's wait and see. Sure, Eddie knew nothing about any transfer plans, even though his nephew is involved. Very strange that. Yeah, that's absolutely true, matey. When you've got your cousin working in the actual department, you'd think you'd know everything about it, wouldn't you? James Cuff, Isaac joined about 2 weeks after Ashworth started, I think. Okay. I don't know the exact dates, but it's something that we can look at. Queen saying any imbalance will long term not be supportive and have long term consequences for the club and eventually the club. I think I don't know what she's mean there. Consequences for the club and eventually the club.
interesting comment by Kenny W though, saying truth is whole interview shouldn't have happened. But we need people to talk. We need people to say, now look, nobody asked them to, uh,
Say it that way.
say that way. We could have said anything.
Yeah, we could
But
have put it anyway.
you can tell that he was tired and maybe he needed to explain why we didn't have a good win. And maybe it is true. And if it is the truth, we need to know the truth, man. We
Yeah,
need to know the truth.
and
Um,
that's what I said. I would
it's
rather have somebody who's truth than somebody like what we've had in the past, totally untrue, and just filling our heads full of blooming garbage,
yeah,
and the club's not going in the direction that you want as fans.
because
Um,
we're saying that well, he said, we're not data driven. We're just basically, I guess, use the eye, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But to find new players or inexpensive players, you need to have some. It's got to start with. Well, it doesn't have to start with either or, but you can watch him or hear about him, and then go look at the stats. Look how he's performing week by week, what team he plays for, what position he plays for, and all that stuff. And apparently, according to Mitchell, we are behind. Yeah,
yeah,
we're not fit for purpose, and
I mean,
that's
I've
true.
heard so much over the last 24 hours. If I'm honest with you, Chris, it's really weird, because obviously people are now saying that you've got the likes of Mitchell coming out saying that we haven't got the intelligence, and a lot of these players that we've bought in have been overpaid or overpriced, and we've just gone ahead and paid for it. So there's been a lot of gambles, but all the gambles have worked off, and we got Champions League from said gambles. So would you then go back and say, well, you were lucky? And that's what I think, a lot of people are pointing the finger at now, saying we've hit the head road. We've got a really good squad of 11 players. Question mark, obviously, a couple. But we haven't strengthened in two windows. And that's where people are starting to question what is the main reason for not strengthening in two windows. So obviously you can blame Mitchell for this window, but what happened in January? Who was to blame back then? Because we didn't buy anybody even in
Yeah, we
January,
didn't.
and that was before Mitchell.
And Ashworth was very much involved.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I said. So you have to take the money into account now, don't you? And this is what I said. And this is why I was talking about wins, spreadsheets, and not being fully behind it because we don't know the facts. Even though we think all this money's coming in, we just don't know. And for me, I've always said until I see it in black and white, I won't always take it for granted that we've got all this money to play with. JJ's put that Anthony Gordon. I think he's talking about antagonising. But when we was out of work, Eddie went to other managers to learn, and he must open and adapt and change. And that's what we're saying. Eddie's never really worked with a big club before, so he's never really needed to have a guy as a DOF because he did it all himself. But it's impossible for this lad to look at every single league that's out there You know, we can't just look in the small basket. We have to get into South America. We have to get into Africa. We have to get into Asia. We have to get into the far depths of Eastern Europe. You know, we have to really knock on all these areas and
Yep.
try and as Chris said the other day, you know, we have to look at the young, unknown sources that have got really good prospects. Now, not all prospects are going to work. Of course they ain't. We know that. You know, you might be lucky to get three, 4 out of 10 that you buy. And that's what I said. Until they develop into players, you can never ever judge that. But the other clubs seem to get away with it, and we need to be in that mold. Um, maybe not just yet. We don't want to become spending money. We've already done it with a lot of the academy. We've brought in how many players now for the academy, and they seem to have done really well. It's changed the outlook of the academy, but it doesn't support the 11, and I think that's where it upsets the fans. Um, Niall again has said it's very hard for the DOF to operate if manager won't play players he gets. Well,
Mm.
that's something like I say. We need to. This could keep rolling and rolling. Um,
But, you know, and again, I thought in the transfer window deadline, we criticized. We were there. You know, obviously we knew nothing was going to happen anyway, but we were there for 3 hours, and all right. But every day, almost every 2 days, something comes up about this. You know, and so it's not really that we're keeping it alive. It's they are keep the club is keeping it alive. Those people working in the club are keeping this whole feud or uncertainty, rumors or whatever you want to call them. They're keeping all this alive every single day. Media is doing the same thing. But look, because somebody was saying there that they don't believe anything media says. That's perfect. That's okay. They have that's their right. But
yeah,
the club hasn't come out and said anything about it. The club
haven't
hasn't come
backed
out and
any of
said,
it up, have they?
What's going on here?" I'm surprised by all these rumors that media are putting out. There's nothing wrong. We want to put the fans at ease. Me and Eddie are working, or Eddie and I are working good, working toward nothing about this. All we've heard from the protagonists are literally contradicting arguments to each other. So there you go.
Yeah.
No smoke without
Um,
fire.
no smoke without the fire. Is that freak show since Eel's statement in January? And we should have shifted trips, Miggy and Wilson. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? You know, like I say, it's all about the sellable assets, and that's where we've struggled. Uh, it's all black and white TV. I had a great day with the weather. Was nice, and us Toon fans outnumbered the London City fans. Yeah, I watched it on YouTube. The girls did really well. I'll come to obviously the girls in a minute, buddy. But I'm glad you had a lovely day. Um, Davey T. It's all about results now. Absolutely. And that's what I
Yeah,
said.
I was gonna say about that one. It's just results now, man.
Yeah,
You
it's
got
a
to
results-driven industry, isn't it? At the end of the day.
you've got to
And
bring in the bacon now.
Yeah, absolutely. And Geordie 2 for life again. Gary, you don't see what Eddie sees in training. So you can't assume it's Eddie Howe's to blame. I'm not assuming anything, buddy. Listen, nobody's a bigger fan of Eddie Howe than me. For what he's done has been outstanding. All I'm saying to you is we've all seen what Tonali's done since he's come on, since he's come back to the team against Forest in the second half, and obviously going away on international duty. So that's what I'm saying. It's not about me saying to you and I think Eddie's to blame. I don't. All I'm saying to you is Eddie now will be questioned where the way these guys are playing at international level, why he isn't starting them. That's all I'm saying because
Mm.
me as a fan will do as well. You need to start playing your best 11 on the park and having some good lads as subs. But I'm not blaming him, mate. And like I say, you're absolutely right. But you can't tell me that, every time I've listened to Eddie Howe talk about Tonali, he tells us that he's having an amazing, he's doing really well in training. He's doing everything he needs to behind the scenes, even when he wasn't even part of the team.
The-
So there
it-
can't be a lot wrong with that lad.
exactly. So, but my question to George in for life is: do you put Tonali based on what you've watched? Do you put him on the pitch? Yes or no against Wolves? Simple as that. Do you put him on the pitch, yes or no? I'm gonna wait for your comment because
You've got,
I'm pretty sure most people will say, yeah, he needs to play. So then we
you've
can't
got,
argue with ourselves.
you've got to. You've
You've
got
got
to.
to.
Because
Yeah.
because I said this. I said to somebody who I know on through the week. He practically won us to get when he come on. We practically won the game on Sunday.
Right.
If he starts on Sunday at Wolves, we might probably have a chance of winning that game. When we had Longstaff playing, we did not have a chance of winning that game. Once Tenori came on, we won the game. He's a game changer. He's a game changer, in my opinion.
Of course. I agree with that.
So Kenny W saying Tonali on the bench Sunday as Longstaff's going to be fresher. That's interesting. So are we going to put Gordon on the bench because obviously he's not going to be fresh and start Almiron down the right hand side or the left hand side? I mean, you can't just look at one individual. And that lad was running in the 95th minute as hard as he could. And everybody else was out on the legs. And that's what I said. I couldn't believe the lad's fitness, considering he's only played a couple of behind-the-scenes matches. He was outstanding. And even the likes of Anthony Gordon, who supposedly is one of our fittest squad members, even he was flagging at 60 minutes. So that's what I said. I don't think it's anything to do with fitness, guys. He's questioned you here, but
On what I watch, yes, but what happens in training, we don't know. We don't see the training and know everything that goes on. But then again, the matches beat training any day of the week, any day of the week. And if the dude is performing, I mean, what could possibly be going on in the training room, on the training grounds? He's not playing good. I mean, he's showing up late because we need to know. You know what I mean? Is he not a good teammate? I mean, at some we cannot. We say this in Spanish as well, and I'm not going to quote Beer Viking on the last one he said because it wasn't appropriate. But we say you can't cover the sun with one finger, man. You can try, but you can't. Try putting your finger on there and cover the sun. You can, but you're really not doing it, are you? So the dude is playing good, playing for his national team, top level, and at some point in time, I mean, what are we doing? That's just what I'm saying, man.
I mean, the only excuse he's got, and I can understand it to a degree, if you want to go down that roads, is the fact that we haven't got, as you've said the other day, and I've alluded to in many weeks ago about the midfield. Once you take the surface layer off the midfield, it's very thin. Now, obviously, Willock should be back, and that's hopefully he may not be there for Wolves, but he certainly should be back just after the international break. Definitely for the Wimbledon game, and so should Wilson, according to form. So it is getting bigger, the squad with all the guys back. But again, if Eddie Howe looks at the likes of Tonali as being the game changer, as we used to do with Harvey Barnes coming on off the bench and trying to change the outlook of the game, then yeah, you could argue the point. But surely then we've got to start saying to ourselves we should be concentrating on bringing another player in to bolster that midfield, whether it be on a loan deal or something else. Because at this present moment in time, we are so thin on the ground. If that's what his mentality is, for me, I think he should start it because we should be winning the games or trying to win the games from the outset, not coming back into the games like we've had to do in previous days. So from that mindset, I can see your point. I can see your point. He's also made this one. Chris, I'm not saying any of that. What happens if Harry's told by the medical staff he's at risk of injury and he plays Longstaff, he's wrong. You should, or should you play him? Like I said, these guys go through yes, James Bunce now will come in and he will give everybody, the necessary breaks, and I'm sure they'll only have light duties when they all come back from playing international games. The first 2 days will just be so light it will be unreal. But he'll be definitely looking at getting them back up to matchy, ready on Friday. and that's what I said. They've all said about the way Eddie and Mad Dog work together, and it was interesting. Did you see the Best Friends competition that they did on Sky? Was it Sky? It was either Sky or Talk
Maybe,
Sport.
yeah. I think
And they both sat down and had to obviously talk about each other and who was the best dressed and who's and it come to because I always thought that obviously Eddie was quite relaxed, but it sounds like Eddie's the one. If there's going to be a rollicking given to any of the players, Eddie does it, and they class it as the hairdryer moment in as a general rule. But it's Eddie who goes in there gung ho apparently, and not Jason Tyndall. And I always thought Jason was the one who was going to be the one who's more, at them and getting them rolled up. It's not. It's Eddie. So it's like I said, he comes across on the TV as the nice guy, but according to the players and Jason Tyndall, he is quite a bit of a barker when it comes down to it. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. So let's have a look at these guys now and let's see what they've done in their respected internationals. Because if you look at the lads now, I mean, I've got a couple of picks that we can put up on the screen, and it'd be interesting to see what your guys' takes are on these individuals and the first game. I mean, obviously, I know you probably didn't watch the England game, Chris.
I didn't know. But Mark Gee played good, they said.
Yeah, Mark Gay played right-sided centre half, centre back.
That's all I need to know.
So he did well, and like I said, I think Anthony Gordon had an amazing first half.
Did he have a good game?
Thought he did absolutely amazing. He got behind them on multiple occasions. Actually, should have scored, but obviously his miss then made up for the. He went and retrieved the ball out wide and cut it back for Rice to get the goal, which was really good. And like I say, for me the lad was excellent. And so was Tonali. I mean, what
Oh,
a absolute gem this lad is. Oh, Ian Fleming, just going to stop us there because Ian's thrown in a super chat. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Ian, brother. Thank you, man. What did he
You
say?
can't cover the sun with one finger, Chris, but you can cover page 3 with your hand when your partner is next to you. Do you know what that means, Chris?
Well, not really, but I was trying to.
Well, okay. So in the good old days, the Sun was notorious on page 3 to have a topless lady and bared the bones. So obviously, it was one of the sellable assets. Let's put it that way, for the gentleman going to work on a morning. So yeah, that was interesting. Thanks to anyway, Ian, for
Good stuff,
sending
man.
us that chat, buddy.
Thank you, Ian.
So yeah, Tonali. Your thoughts on Tonali, Mason?
What was the question again? Sorry.
Did you watch the game? Did you watch the France-Italy game?
No, I was busy on Friday. But luckily enough, I'd seen the assist and I thought, Jesus Christ.
The assist was outstanding, wasn't it?
I know it's Italy and it's obviously his like culture and language, but if he plays like that for Newcastle, then wow, and we're going to a gem coming back playing for it.
He was one of the most attacking midfielders I have actually ever seen. And it was really weird, to think that these guys aren't playing against anything small regarding the opposition, playing against France away from home as well. He was outstanding, and like I say, even running up until the 95th minute, he was getting in behind them. Phenomenal display, actually, the entire game. And obviously, we've got our very own Bruno. I haven't seen much of Bruno, to be fair, Chris, in the Brazil team. Have you got anything on Brazil and Bruno, how he played, if he played?
No idea, man. I've been out of the loop on international football. Only watch Peru, really, but because the family gets together. But No idea. What is that? A current
I
picture?
wonder why he's ditched
Yeah, yeah.
America.
That means,
I
that
wonder
means he
why
did
you've
play.
ditched America, Chris.
Huh?
Why you ditched America, Chris? I wonder why you've ditched America.
He ditched America. Oh, me?
Aye.
Nah, man, I
That's
didn't ditch
the
him.
other night.
I had to. It should have been a
seen
game
it
to Canada versus US. I missed it, man. But I've been so busy lately. But they just went past me, man. Sometimes these matches, these games. I mean, I don't even know. Was it part of the qualifiers? I'm pretty sure it was, but I mean, if the US doesn't qualify for the World Cup, everybody needs to line up and all get fusilated. You know, in the CONCACAF area, man. It's you play against Guam and so South America is getting tough though. Man, South America is being looking really tough at this point. But now I've been out of the loop. But Isak scored 2. That's good.
He scored again tonight, I believe. I think he scored another one.
He did.
And he's
He
two.
did.
I mean, did you see? And this is one that's going to get right up win and give him motivation. Did you see where he played for the Swedish team, position wise?
Did he play center? Wait, what did I didn't
I'll
watch the
show
game.
you. Well, I'll show you because I've got it.
Yeah.
And it was quite interesting to see him playing in the number 10 slot, which is something that I never thought I'd see. But he
Oh, is it
played.
10?
Yeah, there you go.
Isak is talented, man. He can play any position. Trust me.
So Gaika's up top with Isak sitting in just behind in the 10 slot with Kulusevski out on the right and Elanga out on the left hand side.
Look at that, man. That's a good Swedish team, man.
Yeah. So he's like I said, and to be fair, he came into the box really late. I mean, I must admit that I can never pronounce that lad's name properly. Goikers. He looks really sharp as well up top. I must admit, he's certainly one that you'd look at for a future role. If you certainly if you want to adopt that type of formation. For me, it was very interesting.
It
Oh, you
was
changed it back, haven't you?
yeah, we'll change it back out.
So yeah, the lads, all of them have done really well. To be fair, at international level, I was really impressed with what they've all done. I'm just looking here because I have got one of his goals, but I'm just making sure that I can, without getting us in trouble, because that's the UEFA one. Let's just.
Did Kraft play? I'm assuming he did. I didn't see him. I didn't pay attention on that lineup.
No.
Oh, he didn't.
Nope.
No, Kraft was pulled out, wasn't he? Because he got a knock.
I'm sure he pulled out.
Yeah, Kraft pulled out because he'd got a knock.
Really?
In the game against Spurs, so he was. He's not injured, as they say. He's literally just carrying. I think it was a bruised shin or something like that. The report that come out, something like that. He took a heavy blow to the side of his leg. So they just literally wanted to put the sonosite on him and obviously try and break up any of the bruising that was under the skin. So that'd be interesting to see what happens there. Here we go. So Geordie's saying, Gary, it doesn't mean he played number 10. You need his heat map, which will confirm where he played. Well, I watched the game. I watched the extended highlights. And he certainly come late into the picture a lot of the times. And he did look like he was filtering in and around the number 10. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Without having a look at the heat map, you're not going to know exactly where he played.
You can tell.
But he certainly did play behind Goikas. So that's all I can say, matey. I don't know factually, but it was an interesting look at their lineup. Because, like I say, I didn't make the lineup; it was from them.
You can tell Jordy 2 for Life didn't get none last night because he's well, taking an argument.
I don't mind questions. That's what I said. That's what we're here for. We're like I said, none of us are ITKs. and I'm more than happy to be corrected if I'm wrong. And that's what I said. I don't watch a lot of the international footballs. What I have a tendency of doing is obviously following England and then going and having a look at how the lads have played. But I don't watch the entire game. I only watch the extended highlights or whatever's out there. So yeah, I mean, like I say, I have no issues with anybody questioning what or where I get my my stuff from. Um, uh, Geordie Two for Life has said, "Did you hear his interview after the game?" And obviously, he's talking about Anthony Gordon. He comes across superb. I must admit, for his age, he comes across as very eloquent when it comes to explaining stuff. I mean, I also enjoyed his pre-match interview where obviously he said of his upset because of not actually getting any game time because he believes with his ability that he can get behind teams and potentially go on to win the tournament. And I thought that was really good. You know, if you look at his age, it just proves that with his form, he could do well. And yeah, he did say that, like I say, at this present moment in time, he's not match fit. I agree with that because he's missed the entire of the pre-season. And like I said, you can have as much training as you like. Match practice is so different because you're also suffering from mental fatigue, and that's what I was trying to explain to Win. Everybody just thinks it's physical fatigue when you're playing football. When you're concentrating for the pure 45 minutes each half as well, because you've obviously got the gaffer's instructions in your head to deal with, and obviously Carsley was playing a very fluid formation where everybody seemed to flow into each other's areas. The only person that really didn't move that much was Saka, to be fair. Saka seemed to be nicely positioned out on the right-hand side, and you could say that so was Anthony Gordon. He tried to keep the team as wide as possible. But then what you'd got when Kane come deep, you'd have Anthony Gordon just drifting in. I thought, to be fair, I thought Grealish had one of his best games for us, even though he didn't do a lot. His movement was great because it opened up avenues for us to get in and behind. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I think these guys are still, especially Anthony Gordon, he's still missing a lot of match fitness, which will come.
Yep.
But that's where the argument
Can I
comes with
quickly just
Tonali.
come in here?
When you look at Tonali going for 95 minutes and not having any games whatsoever. So you have to question one or the other. Go on, Mason. What was you saying, bud?
Just to see a photograph that Geordie Two for Life after he's just said he lost his wife last night, so photograph Geordie Two for Life.
Sorry, mate. Your mic's really low. I can hardly hear you. Say that again, buddy.
Take me. Can you have us now?
I can hear
right
you,
here.
but
Right here.
you're
Hold on.
really in the distance.
Right here it says, Chris, is just my opinion. No, I didn't get anything last night. My wife passed away with cancer. Only saying no bitterness from me. Well, sorry for your loss.
Mate.
But you joke with me about that, so I
Sorry,
just had to joke back with you because you joke with me
Sorry,
about
my friend.
you joke with me telling me that when I'm arguing that I didn't get anything last night. So that's why I was giving the joke back. But sorry for your loss, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Certainly.
no malice meant whatsoever, my friend. Like
Yeah.
I say, I don't mind you questioning me, buddy, because that's what I said. That's what I'm here for. I can only give my opinion. And like I say, I have got
Like
a
you
small
said,
little bit of
don't read
extras.
it the wrong way. I'm not having a go. Look, man, we just it's not. I never take nothing serious, man.
No.
Not as far as chat is concerned. People have insulted me. People people call me names. They it's, the American and Yank jokes always come when people don't agree with me. But when the camera's off, I go about my business and don't give a damn about what's in the chat and what isn't. So,
Exactly.
but regardless, sorry for your loss, man. It's a tough thing to go through, I'm sure. So keep your head up.
Oh, Beer saying that was wrong anyway because Alanga didn't start. So that's interesting because that's apparently come from
Well, hold on.
somewhere in Sweden.
Google is king.
Yeah.
So Sweden
So
versus
thanks
who?
for that, mate. That's what I just thought.
Who did
So
they play?
to be fair, I only put it up there. What was that, buddy?
Sweden versus who?
Was it Azerbaijan? I don't know.
Or was it Estonia? I think if it's coming.
Was it Estonia? I don't know.
It was Estonia.
Sweden
Yeah.
played
it was today.
5-3-2.
3-0 Estonia. lineups.
That was today, though, wasn't it? That was the other day. That was the first match.
What?
Estonia was today,
Oh,
wasn't it?
okay. So yeah. So
Yeah,
today,
so I agree with you, mate. I agree with you. I don't know today's result. I haven't looked at all on today's formation. I think that was the formation against with the first team, and I think that was against Azerbaijan. Never say Azerbaijan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
But
you know,
they've done well. You can only score who's in front of you as well, can't you?
exactly.
The teams at the end of the day.
We shall wait what
Yeah,
happens tomorrow with Newcastle United news, I guess you can say. If anything, something's gonna come up. These people keep
yeah,
talking.
absolutely. Absolutely, and that's it. I mean, there's so much out there now. The other thing that was really interesting because this goes on. This is for you. I did something for Win, and I've also
Oh,
done something for you, Chris.
Win is gone, man.
I know Win's
If
gone.
people didn't know, Win is on vacation now. He's
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah.
He told me I don't know where he's going though. But yeah, Win is. You're not gonna
This is
see him
going to be
from there.
hard. This is going to be hard for anybody to see in the chat, by the way. So apologies. I will try and bring it up. Um, so just so you can see at the top, who has been the most productive players in the Premier League history, and this is all players. Let's just bring that up so you guys can see it. All players with at least one season of game time, 3,500 minutes. The larger the name, the more minutes they have played. And the reasons why I've put this up, because when you look at some of the big names at the top, Henry, Suarez, Dzeko, and things like that. But when you come down a little bit, the one person that I did notice, and as you can see, buddy, Harvey Barnes. He's in front of the likes of Zola, Mahrez, Hazard, Coutinho.
And that's for like Newcastle.
Well, no, that's obviously also for Leicester because it's appearances. But it just proves that the lad obviously can perform at the top level in the Premier League.
The
There's some
Premiership.
big names behind him. I tell you, Maddison,
Yeah.
Overmars. So I thought, if I've done one for Chris, I've got to do one for Win. I've got to do one for you as well. So there you go. Because I know you're a massive Harvey
Oh,
Barnes
Harry Barnes, man. Harry Barnes is gonna be key.
Harvey Barnes is key. So
He's
there you go,
gonna be
buddy.
the one, man. Good stuff. Good stuff.
So that's that. I mean, literally, that is it. Like I say, without the internationals, and again, I am so sorry to go on about all the the rigmarole behind the scenes regarding what's happening with Dan Ashworth and
That's
his
good.
comments, because obviously he's now saying he's got it to some unrest. So let's quickly have a. I don't know whether did you watch the game at all today? Mason,
What game was this?
the girls, the Newcastle United girls, the Lionesses,
The
Uh,
gal.
the Lionesses.
yeah, I watched some of it. Yeah, I watched some of it.
Yeah. What did you think?
Half the time I was what. I think it's just being new to the league, and obviously, I think learning different teams are going to be playing before, and to be out of the northern section. For the first time, I think it's going to take learn. Obviously, they'll probably travel down a day before the game, so they want to get that
Yeah.
fatigue if they're like going down on the day, especially to a place like London.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Apparently, it was a
I
nice
thought
day according to
it-
everybody out there.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah,
so just
I
if
thought
people haven't sorry, Mason, are you still trying to talk? Because you break up after a couple of minutes. Your mic seems to disappear on you, and it's not brilliant to listen to. Are you there?
Can you? Am I okay now?
Well,
Yeah, you seem. That's it. That's good. That's good. Sorry, mate. What was you saying?
Yeah, I thought we're just new to the league. I thought it's just like it's going to be a learning curve. So a draw is a fair result at the end of the day, and I think once they get used to the league, I think they'll start winning games again.
Yeah. I mean, Ryan's put there that it was a massive golfing quality. I agree. You can see that there's a lot more experience from the Lionesses that was down there in their team. And again, I only say experience because when you say golfing quality, that I think that was evenly matched. I think what we've got to do, and I put it in the chat because there was obviously a lot of fans in the chat at the time, and I did make a couple of comments, not too many, because obviously I wanted to concentrate on the game. Um, but what I noticed was they was too eager, and I think that's the word, too eager to get the ball forward, trying to imitate the boys on the press. Sometimes they overpressed and they left themselves a little bit open at times at the back. And both goals were well taken goals. I must admit, I thought they did extremely well when it come to the goals. I mean, is it Shania Hales who scored the first one on about 15 minutes? He literally sent their centre back towards the D, and then peeled off for a little bit to give herself a little bit of space. First touch I thought was a little bit heavy, but she managed then to get a toe poke, and it deflected off the keeper into the back of the net. So it was well deserved, and the girls, I suppose, on balance of the play for the first 15 minutes, deserved the lead. But like I say, Aslani, I think it was, the Lions lady, their breakaway through the middle, drawing all our defence to the one side, and then she squared it to the edge of the penalty area, and that Aslani lady literally side-footed. It was such a comfortable goal for them. And I must admit, there was a couple of girls out there that I thought played really well. And there was a couple of girls, you're probably quite right in saying that they're probably a little bit struck in the headlights a little bit. And I think that's what you've got to think. That there's a couple of girls that are stepping up to a higher league, and there's a couple of girls stepping down from a league above. So there should be a nice balance there. But I think if you look on the balance, it was lovely to come away for the first game with a point in the bag. And I think it's going to be great experience for them going forward. And I think at the end of the day, for me, I thought Maun was good. The new keeper that we've got from Sunderland, and obviously I think Charlotte Potts was really good. She did a lot of like tackles and blocks, and I think, like I say, she looked composed and really well. But like I say, for me, overall, I thought for the first game, there's still a lot to learn, but I thought the girls did really well,
Yeah.
coming away with a 1-1 draw. So there you go, and that is it. That's all I have got for you
Yeah,
guys.
man.
Um,
I need to corroborate with DX if he's going to be able to show up tomorrow for the breakfast show, but we're going to talk about with Gary. We'll try to bring it in tomorrow. Regardless, we're trying to keep our same schedule because the Mighty Win is going on vacations. He took, according to some reports, according to Luke Edwards, the Mighty Win
yeah,
did take his laptop
he'd
and
take his laptop.
webcam.
Yeah,
Hopefully he takes his mic and hopefully he didn't just take those devices. Hopefully he took the cables that make it
yeah,
work because he
yeah,
is.
absolutely.
But we shall see what happens there. So, last but not least, Georgia for Life. I apologize. I shouldn't have put my personal matters in the chat. That's not like me at all. Sorry to everyone. You don't have to apologize for that,
No,
brother.
no, not at all.
We are a
It's
family. You're going through something.
yeah,
Is
we all get
obviously
them.
we are understand. We go through a lot of stuff in our personal lives and in the chat. God knows I'm always uh with actually something far less important, which is a YouTube channel, obviously, than what you're going through. But our thoughts are with you.
Absolutely,
If you believe in the power of God, prayers to you, and hopefully you find some healing. And as they say, time heals all things, which is
absolutely.
uh,
Just before we go, I just wanted to highlight one thing, if I could. And again, forgive me for being a bit morbid.
mhm.
But one of our very own, Gary Speed, would have been 55 years old today.
Yeah.
And for me, he was one of the most influential midfielders we ever had. I'd love him today. He was a leader for many clubs, if I'm honest. And well, I am going to say it. For me, he was a legend.
Hmm.
Somebody who I say idolise that because that's not the right way. But I tried to model my game on his game because he was never afraid to get stuck in. But with me getting ever older, I always used to go further and further backwards. So I started as left winger and went back to left back because I just couldn't keep up with the pace of the game. So there you go. Yeah, but like I say, a happy heavenly birthday to Gary Speed.
Yeah, that's right. No need to apologize, though, Jordan, for life. We're here for you, brother. We're a family
Absolutely.
whatsoever, so
Indeed.
we're a family. So just feel free to vent. George Eaton says Chris 2 up 1 down looks better than 3 across. What are we talking about?
It's a crossword puzzle, obviously.
Yeah,
But I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what we're talking about, but let you know.
You've totally lost me, George.
This is just last few comments here. We see something. Let's see. Me, I'm sleep. No, I'm not sleeping. But you can't just, I can't argue every time. The mighty wind's not here, so obviously there's a common denominator as to why I'm not living. But no, we shall see what the old man, what happens with the old man in the next few days. He's definitely not going to be here, but well, I don't know. He might join.
Yeah, say he may jump on.
Yeah, man.
Let's not put any pressure on him.
No, not at all.
But you're right.
But
And Jason Brown, yeah, you're right, mate. The girls did miss some sitters, especially the one that come across for that girl. She had an open goal and she miskicked it. Was that Hales? I think that may have been Hales as well. She missed the first one. It was an air shot, and then unfortunately, by the time she had the ball under a little bit of control, she put it wide, which was a shame, really, because I think that would have probably settled them down a little bit having that goal. But you're right, mate. They did miss a few sitters, but so did the Lions. I mean, they hit the post as well. So, like I said, I think 1-1 was a fair point.
Yeah. Last but not least, Beer Viking, when are we getting Win on a Wednesday show? He's he does have Toon Talk Worldwide, which he recruits people for that show. So that is technically his show. But the Mighty Wednesdays, I don't know yet, man. It's up to him. But the thing is, we are so cluttered on Wednesdays, man, that we need to probably move something away from Wednesdays, because maybe the Toon Talk Worldwide needs to be on another day. But we shall wait and see about that. I'm actually thinking about Beer Viking. You mentioned that it would be interesting to have a quiz night all shows fighting for it, like NUFC Extra Time versus the Breakfast Show versus the Toon Talk Worldwide or the Hoof the Twat.
God.
And I'll be the referee in the middle. I think that
was
would
the referee, because my brain is rubbish. You know that. I'm at a loss before I even start.
But you'll get the mighty win, which he is a quiz god. So
listen, the only way I'm going to win anything is if I had Mighty win one side and DX the other.
Yeah. But anyways, it's lovely, of course, to have all of you. Hit the like button. If you just joined, you can watch the replay, of course. It's not going anywhere.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much for your support, and we shall see you tomorrow night. And tomorrow morning as well. And
tomorrow, 12 o'clock, isn't it? Back tomorrow.
Yeah, but midday UK. So thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you in the next one, folks. Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody.